So how do you interview someone? Josh Spurrell of Spurrell & Associates, top-rated CPA in Canada, most sought-after fractional CFO and top business consultant. My name is Desmond Soon with Spurrell & Associates as well. Josh and I are business partners, and we are here to help entrepreneurs like yourself figure out how to beat the 90% odds. You know how you always hear about business owners, 96% of them failing? Well, that might be you if you don't pay attention. So stick on all the way to the end of the video. In this series, we have over 100 myths that Josh has in his book. This is the manuscript from his book that we dispel. And if you pay attention, you're going to give you actionable items so that you can implement it as a business owner. So Josh, the question that we have all the time is, how do you hire someone, good candidates? And we made another video, by the way, you can check it out up here, where we also talked about the hiring process. So this is kind of a part 2. If you didn't watch that video, go watch that and then come back to this video. Josh, how do you hire someone?
Well, our strategy has been, we started with the conventional, when you need someone, let's launch an ad, let's see those ads come in, let's spend a significant amount of time reviewing these resumes, right? And then you finally meet people, you schedule interviews, and half of them
sounds pretty familiar.
Half of them don't show up, and
right.
Some of them, you don't really like as soon as they get there. They're just not good fits, and it becomes an incredibly time-intensive process when you're usually shorthanded.
Correct.
That's
usually I'm already working right? 60 to 80 hours a week, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Then we realized that just was not the way. You look at the big players. I mean, the people who hire a tremendous amount of people. We're talking about the Googles, the Disneys of the world. They are hiring thousands of people every single year. And they do not do it one-to-one. Right. They do it in a group setting, right? Okay. I think it said, Google gets 3 million applications every year. Yeah. And they hire 0.2% of them. Right. So they're hiring not 2 out of 100, they're hiring 2 out of 1,000 applicants, right? Yeah,
it's a numbers game for them.
That's right. And business owners are usually stuck hiring the person that's available when they have a need, right? Right. Okay. And I've heard it described as, they have the pond water, the scummy pond water around the edge of the pond, and they just get whatever water is available when they're thirsty, right? Okay. Whereas big businesses, they have this stream, this crystal clear stream running through the organization, and they can drink from it whenever.
And they can just take the best water from it, right?
That's right. So it's a group interview done always, okay? Not a group interview done when you're shorthanded, a group interview that's done always, periodically, usually weekly.
So let me get this correctly for anyone watching the video as well too. The advice, by the way, I've also run several of my own companies as well too. Josh is also my CPA and CFO, and this is one of the things that I had to learn as well too. So I'm not just sitting on the camera here. I've also done these things myself, where now Josh has me doing some very specific things that successful business owners do, and one of them is, as a business owner, to create a once a week interview schedule. Like, how you do closing calls, you do meetings, negotiations, business trips, we have team meetings, things like that. Well, guess what? One of the things that's on my calendar right now is actually interviews once a week. So once a week, Josh, correct? Yes. And but how do I get started with that? Maybe I'm just a 2-person team right now. Do I need to start doing that right now? Maybe I'm a restaurant owner. Do I need to start doing that right now?
Once you start hiring, you're always hiring. Okay. Because that person is not going to leave when you think they're going to leave. They're going to leave on their schedule. Right. Okay? When they get sick, when their spouse gets transferred, when they decide that they want to work in a different industry, when they decide they want to start their own business or go to a competitor, you're going to need people. You have no control over that, right? Okay. It gets easier and easier because it's a harder investment of time when you're first starting, right? When you have 2-3 people, it's very difficult, right? But eventually, it becomes a complete time hack, right?
What would you say to the business owner who says, "Well, I'm kind of a small person team. I'm maybe a HVAC or a electrician, and I've got one truck, and it's just me right now, or I'm a drywaller contractor. Do I need to start doing hiring as well too right now?"
When it's just you, that's okay. But the minute you start hiring, you're always hiring. Okay, so you're that drywaller, and now you hired your first guy, and he's there, he's ready to go. You've put him on the calendar. Your customers are expecting that guy to show up. You don't know if that guy's going to show up or not. You want to know if that guy's going to show up or not, but really deep down, you don't know. Right? Yeah. And your customer is not going to be very appreciative saying, "Hey, my guy quit," and it's going to be another week, 2 weeks, a month before I find another one. That's not how it works. So it has to be a periodic process if you're going to do it. usually weekly, and you need to shift your mindset, right? People just think that they can grab who is ever available. It becomes a math test. Why is a CPA gravitated towards HR? It's because this is a math test. Whoever interviews the most candidates wins. That's it. It's not about the questions that you ask. It's not about,
So even if you have bad questions, but you saw a lot of people on a regular basis,
that's right,
you would probably end up with better staff.
That's right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
The challenge, the number I set for people, that key performance indicator in this is you want to meet 100 prospective applicants before you hire one.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot.
So if you meet 100, you're gonna hire better people. I don't care. You could have the best judge of character, or be armed with the world's craziest brain teaser questions,
surveys, or whatever it is. Yeah.
If you saw 3 candidates, your employees suck.
Right.
Okay. If you saw 100, that guy's better. That guy's going to find better candidates over time. Right.
So then the question is just, how do you do that? Right? Do you put out ads? Do you block out? When's a good time to conduct these group interviews?
The group interviews, you can generally do it on your schedule.
Yeah.
You should be aware that people applying for your job, though, they're going to have other commitments already. So some of the best applicants are already working somewhere else.
Yeah, it depends on your industry, I'm guessing, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe if you run a restaurant, you might put on an interview on, I don't know, the day that you're closed, maybe the Monday, or maybe you haven't come in when the restaurant's open. I don't know,
that's right.
Or during lunchtime, after lunch, sorry.
If you have it at a set time every week, the good applicants will get there eventually, right?
Correct.
If it's only this Tuesday at 4:00, well, the best applicant might not be able to make it this Tuesday at 4:00 because they have another commitment, right?
Okay.
But if you tell them, hey, I can't make that time, when's the next time? Next Tuesday at 4:00. Well, I can't make that one. The Tuesday after that at 4:00, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, the people who are good candidates who really want to work there, they're gonna make it one Tuesday at 4:00. They're gonna end up getting there. Okay. So, and how do you get them there? You generally do have to use paid advertising to get them there.
Okay.
Most businesses are not going to be lucky enough to get people without paid advertising. So it's Indeed. It's usually a ransom. It's usually $25 a day or so, yeah. Right? And you're handing this money over every month. But
maybe it's a Craigslist, depending on what it is, but Indeed is the job boards basically wherever you are in the world. In Canada, it's Indeed. It's a pretty strong one. What about Glassdoor? I guess another one, stuff like that.
I mean, they all work, right?
Yeah.
You just have to get enough applicants. You have to get enough people in the arena, right? There's no one right way to do it. People can put advertisements on Facebook. Indeed's probably the 800-pound gorilla in the space, so you're probably going to start there and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
But don't be cheap when it comes to this, right? Because people want to find a free way. That doesn't mean it's a better way. Okay.
Correct.
That one Indeed ad, maybe it's running $25 a day. Maybe this thing is costing you $500 to $1,000 a month on this ad. But how much does it cost to lose that one drywaller? How much does it cost you to lose that one drywaller for a week, 2 weeks, a month? It costs way more than the $500 or $1,000.
I'd spend the
$500.
$500. Yeah.
It's not close, right? So this is another one of those areas where we're naturally gravitated towards taking the cheap option, but we should take the better option.
Makes sense. So Josh, another thing that we hear all about is, like I'm an extroverted guy, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of business owners that are actually quite good at sales. They tend to be the sales guy. They have a lot of contacts, referrals. We've networked a lot. And I tend to get a lot of, most of the people I've worked with, I knew them from something else. Is that a safe, scalable plan for a business owner?
It's not, right?
Okay.
And we tend to overestimate the value that we have, that there is in an applicant who is sourced by that means.
Yeah.
Because the sales mentality is kind of that hunter-gatherer mentality. It's like, I got one, right? I got a sale. I was like, that was still just one applicant, right?
Right.
It still wasn't as good as the 100 applicant. Just because they knew, one of your suppliers or your customers or something, it's just one person.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them any better or any worse, just because they know someone that you knew, right? Statistically, it's fairly irrelevant.
So still bring those in, but make sure you do that that's like icing the cake. The real business driver is actually having these regular interviews. In here as well too, Josh, you talk about in your book, you actually talk about actually doing it at a specific time.
Yes.
Or as a group together, not randomly all over the place. Can you talk more about that?
Well, when we do one-to-one interviews, our mood changes throughout the day.
Okay.
Someone who we see at 10 a.m. when we're super fresh might appear rosy and happy, and someone that we see at 6 o'clock after we've worked 10-12 hours they might not appear as accommodating, right? And that might not have anything to do with the applicant at all. It has everything to do with our perception based on our energy level at that time of the day.
Okay.
So by putting everybody in a room at the same time, we're viewing them through the same lens all the time, right?
Okay, so instead of doing interviews at 1 at 10 in the morning, 1 at 2 in the afternoon, 1 at 6 in the evening, we know that even if you had a good applicant at 6, but we might have had a bad day and we're tired and exhausted, we may not actually look at them with the same lens as a person at 10 in the morning.
That's right.
But if you put all 3 of them at the same time at, say, 6 p.m. in the evening, regardless of what your mood is, you're going to see all of them with the same lens.
That's right. And now we can get them with the same lens, and people will dramatically underestimate how obvious it becomes. I've often brought clients in to shadow our interview process, and they will pick the same person that we're going to pick. They're not accountants. They're going to pick the same person. Ultimately, we're going to test the aptitude skills in a different way. We talk about that in the video. You can view that video up here. But when it comes to the actual applicants, we're going to find the best applicants by doing it as a group. It's just almost like the heavens open up and a light shines on that person, and it's obvious which one you should take, right? That's the one that we should run through the skills test.
Okay. So Josh, what are actionable items in this video here that someone who's watched this video and they're going through the series that they can actually implement immediately this week before watching the next video?
You want to schedule time for a group interview, launch an ad that's actually going to get attendees for that group interview.
Got it.
Those are the 2 things. It's easy to, scheduling is one thing. We got to pull out time out of our schedule. Then you're usually going to have to pay an Indeed or something to actually funnel enough people through that group interview for it to be meaningful.
Well, business owner, you're watching this video, you can comment below. Actually, go and implement. The key here in business is to implement. Speed of implementation, success loves speed. Go and implement. Comment below in the comments and let us know if maybe you've already been following Josh or maybe you're new to this channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification. Actually comment. Let us know. We'd love to give you a shout out in the next video or even reply to you, maybe even pin your comment if you can actually show us some proof and let us know how the process goes. We'd love to see your business succeed, and we'll see you in the next video.